Arvind, just to start, before I just get into your first bit of data, this is a really, as I mentioned, pivotal time for the Indian economy, a crucial time. It's a big, big budget and an important economic survey, right?
Yeah. Just to be a little bit provocative, I would say that perhaps after the first full budget of the government in 2015, this is arguably the most important budget because, for two reasons. One, of course, is that, the economy has been devastated by, as you were describing, one of the worst pandemics. And so, we have to recover from what is a huge hit to the economy. But I think also in a more positive sense, it offers the government an opportunity to kind of reset course, given,
Right.
successes, the stumbles, the pandemic. It gives it a chance to, reset its approach to policy making, which is what I hope we will discuss over the course of this program.
Yeah. In fact, some of your findings, and I've read all your recent papers, which have been really, you've been working hard for once in your life. And what it tends to show is that the pandemic has been a terrible devastation, but there were problems even before. And we're talking about leading up to the pandemic, things were not all okay, right?
Yeah. So I think in some ways, if you look at the impact on the Indian economy from the budget, it was really from the pandemic. It was really a combination of two things, right? One was, the pandemic and the lockdown response that had to be taken so that economic activity slowed down quite a bit. But that came on top of, I think, pre-existing weaknesses in the economy. This is what we spoke about, Prannoy, the last time we were together, how, for example,
Right.
growth had been slowing down considerably. The financial system, we had this famous
Right.
twin balance sheet becoming a four balance sheet problem. And so it's the combination of the two. Exports had slowed down quite a bit. So it's a combination of a pre-existing weakness plus the response to the pandemic. Right. And as you know, for 2020, the year of the pandemic, the IMF says that India will be amongst the most devastated with a decline in GDP of about 8%.
Let's actually have a look at that data. It's the latest IMF data. If we just have a look at look at the current pandemic, how has it affected India? And actually, if you look at the GDP in India in this year of the pandemic, it's gone down 8%, and that's the worst amongst all developing countries. In fact, the average for developing countries is much less than that. If you have a look, it's just 2.4. So we're like 3 times as bad as the average for all developing countries. But there's a little bit of good news actually on the horizon. The IMF forecasts that for next year, if we look at will we bounce back, will we rebound, will India rebound, what does the IMF say? The IMF says yes, not only will it rebound, India will be the best amongst all developing countries in 2021. That is up 11.5%. Remember, we went down 8. Now, forecast to go up 11.5 compared to developing countries, which on average are going up 6.3. So almost twice as fast as the average of all developing countries. So that's a good bit of news, but it doesn't mean we'll be back to normal. If we just have a final look before I get to Arvind, what happens if you look at over time, this is what India's big rebound will still be 8% lower by the end of 2021. Now look, first it goes down 8% in 2020, that we've seen the pandemic. Next, it goes up 11.5. Both those combined means it will be just 2.6% above 2019. The bounce back will not be enough to really take us very high. Now, if there was no pandemic, you see that dotted line, that's how India's economy would have gone. And in fact, in the end, where we'll end up in 2021, even if that 11.5% is correct, it will still be 8% short, a shortfall in GDP compared to without the pandemic. Even the bounce back, we're still going to lose 8% of it. That's quite a big loss. It's an intercept change, actually.
Yeah, so I think those are very nice graphics, Prannoy. One caution is that all these numbers are subject to a lot of uncertainty, as you know. I think what we can
Yeah.
say for sure is that 2021 will be a good year for India, and that's the good news.